Welcome to my channel Numismatics US Guide. Picture this, a coin you've held in your hand countless times, maybe even tossed into a vending machine yesterday, could actually be worth over $1 million. I know it sounds impossible, but stay with me because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you look at every coin in your pocket. It all begins in 1976. The year of America's bicentennial. The U.S. Mint decided to commemorate 200 years of independence with the special Washington quarter dollar, struck with the dual date, 1776–1976. Most people saw it as just another collectible, another coin for their pocket change or their coin jar. But hidden among millions, there were a few that were different, subtle differences that could mean the difference between a few cents and $1 million treasure. The story starts with the mysterious production error at the Denver Mint. Some coins were struck on leftover plan case, and others received a striking so precise it created a rare variation. Experts later discovered that these coins, almost identical to the regular bicentennial quarters, had a tiny, almost invisible flaw: a misplaced type mark, a slightly off-center design, or an unusual layering that the naked eye might overlook. This flaw, almost invisible to the untrained eye, is what turns an ordinary coin into $1 million find. Imagine walking into your living room, sifting through your collection, and noticing a coin that looks normal at first glance. Your heart starts to race as you realize this coin isn't just old, it's unique. The thrill, the suspense, it's the feeling of holding history in your hand, knowing that this tiny circle of metal could change your life. $1 million. Just waiting for the right person to discover it. Now, identifying this coin is both simple and delicate. First, look for the dual date, 1776–1976, clearly marked on the obverse side. Then, examine the edge. It should have the standard reeded pattern, but some rare variations might have a slightly irregular edge, a clue that sets it apart. The most crucial step is inspecting the details around George Washington's portrait and the eagle on the reverse. Tiny doubling, slight shifts in the die, or unusual textures can signal that you've found one of the rare coins collectors dream about. Every few minutes, I want you to pause and imagine the possibilities. That coin you dismissed last week, sitting in your pocket or on your dresser, could hold the key to a life-changing discovery. It's almost cinematic the way these coins hide in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice the difference. And it's not just about money, it's about history, heritage, and the thrill of the hunt. Let's reset for a moment. Think about how many coins you've seen in your lifetime. Now imagine that among them, one single coin could make you a millionaire. That's the power of those rare 1776–1976 Mint Washington quarters. Every scratch, every mark, every tiny imperfection could be the clue you need. And that's what makes coin collecting so exhilarating, the chance that something ordinary could be extraordinary. Collectors who have discovered these coins often describe it as an emotional shock. Some were simply counting their loose change. Others were sorting through decades of stored coins, and then there it was, a coin that looks almost identical to all the others, yet its rarity and flaw make it priceless. $1 million, just sitting in a stack of coins you thought were ordinary. The excitement is real, and it's closer than you think. Lighting can be your secret weapon. Hold the coin under a bright light at different angles. Shadows will reveal inconsistencies, subtle doubling, or irregularities invisible under standard lighting. Magnification is key. A good jeweler's loupe or a microscope can make all the difference. When you spot that irregularity, your pulse will quicken because you'll know you're holding something extremely rare. Remember, these coins aren't just about their market value, they're about the story. Every rare coin has a journey, from the mint to a collector's hand, sometimes forgotten in a drawer for decades before its true worth is recognized. The thrill comes not just from the potential $1 million value, but from holding a piece of history that very few will ever see. Pause again and think of the thrill the anticipation of discovering a treasure where no one expects it. The suspense of seeing a coin that seems ordinary, then realizing the rarity hidden in plain sight. That's the emotion that drives collectors. The heart-pounding excitement that turns a hobby into a lifelong passion. Finally, the most important step, verify authenticity. Rare coins like this are often subjected to professional grading. Organizations like PCGS or NGC can confirm that what you hold is indeed one of the rarer coins. Certification doesn't just validate its value, it cements your place in history as someone who discovered a true numismatic gem. Every time you open a coin jar, you have a chance. Every time you sort through pocket change, you could be moments away from uncovering a coin worth over $1 million. It's suspense, it's history, it's life-changing, all contained in a single Washington quarter. This is why coin collecting isn't just about metal or money, it's about wonder, discovery, and the dream that something ordinary could become extraordinary in your hands. It's about finding that one coin that makes your heart race and changes your life forever. But what if I told you this coin could be hiding a secret worth over $1 million? Yes, a single coin, tucked away in a pocket, a drawer, or even a jar, quietly waiting to transform someone's life forever. It all begins in 1965, a time when the world was changing fast. The Beatles were taking over the airwaves, the civil rights movement was reshaping America, and quietly, in the mints, a mistake was being made, one that would create a coin so rare, so shocking, that collectors would fight over it decades later. The 1965 Washington quarter had no mint mark at all. Normally, coins have a small letter indicating where they were struck, but a handful slipped through the cracks, stamped without any mark. This tiny anomaly is the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and a coin worth a broken bar, well, over $1 million. A coin tossed into circulation like any other. People paid for groceries, bought gas, maybe even tucked it into a piggy bank. But the right quarter, unnoticed, was quietly becoming a legend. Historians and collectors alike would later call it one of the most astonishing eras in American coin history. Now, I want you to feel the weight of what this means. Millions of coins were made in 1965, but the ones without a mint mark, almost impossible to find. They are hidden gems, and for those who know how to spot them, they are life-changing. You might think, it's just a quarter, right? But in this case, that quarter could be $1 million ticket. Yes, I said $1 million. Look at the obverse, the front of the coin. You'll see George Washington staring back at you. That's normal. But now look carefully just under the date. Normally, you'd see a D or S for Denver or San Francisco. On this rare quarter, there's nothing at all. A blank space. That emptiness is not a flaw, it's the golden ticket. The absence of a mint mark makes it incredibly rare. Only a handful of these coins were made, and even fewer survive decades of pocket change and careless collectors. Every coin tells a story. Think about the person who spent this quarter decades ago, never imagining its hidden value. They might have bought candy, tipped the waiter, or just saved it in a drawer. That coin witnessed history quietly, and now, it could be the one that changes someone's entire life. A coin like this isn't just currency, it's a treasure, a connection to history, and the chance at unimaginable wealth. Collectors describe the hunt as both thrilling and nerve-wracking. Every stack of quarters you sort through, every jar you open, could hide that one miraculous coin. You might feel the suspense rising with every flip. Your heart races, your mind wanders to the possibilities. Could it be sitting in a box of coins you've forgotten about? Or worse, still in circulation, unknowingly passing from hand to hand, inching closer to someone else's discovery? And it's not just about luck. Identification is key. Look at the details. The crispness of the strike, the sharpness of Washington's hair, the depth of the lines. These coins were made during a transitional period when the mint was shifting to clad compositions, not the silver quarters of earlier decades. A genuine 1965 no mint mark quarter is slightly different in texture, slightly lighter, yet unmistakably silver to the trained eye. This knowledge separates a $1 million find from just another coin. You might ask, how many people actually have one? Very few. Experts estimate that only a tiny fraction exist in collectible condition. The coin's rarity combined with the historical aura creates something almost magical, an everyday object transformed into a treasure beyond imagination. Imagine the first time a collector realized the value, a coin worth over $1 million, hiding in plain sight all along. The shock, the disbelief, and then the exhilaration. Every few minutes, when you feel the tension building, Reset your attention to this thought: a coin in your hand, ordinary at first glance, could suddenly mean extraordinary wealth. The beauty of it is that the coin doesn't change. It's the context, the story, the knowledge, and rarity that gives it power. You could be holding a coin that someone else would sell for over $1 million tomorrow. Think about the emotional weight of this discovery. Generations of collectors have spent years, sometimes decades, chasing coins like this. The 1965 no mint mark quarter is more than metal. It is ambition, history, and dreams frozen in silver. The idea that one of these quarters might be sitting quietly in your home is almost too incredible to imagine. Yet, that is the thrill of numismatics, the possibility that the ordinary contains the extraordinary. First, examine any 1965 quarters you have. Check the mint mark area carefully. No mark? Hold it up to the light. Feel its weight. Examine its edges. Notice the details. Every moment you spend inspecting, you are entering a world of discovery, of hope, and of potential life-changing fortune. And remember, this coin isn't just a story, it's a reality. Millions of quarters were made, but the ones without mint marks are virtually priceless in the right condition. To collectors, this coin represents opportunity, history, and the ultimate prize. It's why people keep jars of change, sift through old coin boxes, and dream late at night about what they might find. Imagine telling your family, your friends, your neighbors, that a coin in your possession is worth over $1 million. The disbelief, the awe, the sheer emotional impact of such a discovery. That is why collectors chase these coins relentlessly. And now, armed with the knowledge of how to identify it, you are part of that elite circle. You have the chance to find the coin that could change your life forever. This is more than a quarter. It is a story of error turned into treasure, of ordinary turned extraordinary, and of decades-long mystery finally revealed. Every coin has a past, but this one carries a weight unlike any other, the weight of over $1 million. Every glance at it could remind you that sometimes, history hides its greatest secrets in the smallest places. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million. This isn't a fantasy, it's a real possibility with the 1989p Washington quarter, and it might be hiding in your own wallet. The story begins in 1989, a year when most people were thinking about the latest blockbuster movies or the rise of pop icons. Nobody imagined that the U.S. Mint was quietly producing a coin that decades later could change someone's life overnight. Back then, it was just another quarter, minted for circulation, dropped into pocket change, and forgotten. Yet, today, this very coin has a backstory that sends shivers down the spine of every serious collector. You see, the 1989p quarter is unique because of a rare minting anomaly. It's subtle, something you almost wouldn't notice unless you knew exactly what to look for. And that's where most people fail. They pass over a $1.2 million treasure without even realizing it. Picture a coin, gleaming under the light, with the familiar profile of George Washington. Now, focus on the tiniest details, the way the letters are struck, the sharpness of the design, the subtle imperfections that turn an ordinary quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime find. This isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for. Collectors who have discovered this coin often describe the moment as surreal, heart-racing, hands trembling, as they realize that decades of casual change have been hiding a fortune in plain sight. Imagine the life-changing possibilities: debts wiped out, dreams suddenly within reach, all because of a small piece of copper and nickel. The 1989p Washington quarter is not easy to find. It was a production anomaly, something that slipped through the rigorous inspection of the U.S. Mint. Only a handful of these coins exist in pristine condition. These coins are highly sought after, not just for their rarity, but because they carry with them a story of mystery, of hidden treasure, of wealth waiting to be discovered. First, look at the mint mark, the P indicating Philadelphia. Then, examine the details closely. The edges should be sharply struck. The letters in Liberty and In God We Trust may appear slightly different from your everyday quarters. Hold it under a bright light and check for subtle die variations that set it apart. These small details are what separate a coin worth a few cents from $1 million treasure. But beware, it's not just about spotting the mint mark. Condition is everything. The surfaces must be clean, free from scratches, dents, or circulation marks. Many quarters get discarded because they appear common at first glance, but when preserved perfectly, this coin transforms from ordinary change into a $1 million prize. Imagine searching through your old coin jars or piggy banks, fingers brushing over hundreds of quarters, until suddenly, one catches your eye. That flicker of recognition, the realization that you might be holding something extraordinary. That feeling has driven collectors to examine coin collections for hours, days, even weeks, all for a chance at discovering one of these rare 1989p quarters. Stories of people finding this coin are almost mythical. One collector recounted finding it in a roll of quarters he had stored since the 90s. He was cleaning out his drawer when he noticed a slight difference in one coin. One coin among hundreds held a secret so immense that it instantly became worth over $1 million. And it's not just the financial value that fascinates collectors. There's something magical about discovering a piece of history, a tangible connection to the year 1989. A moment frozen in time. Every coin has a story, but only a few have the power to transform a life. Attention to detail is key. The die strike, the rim, the spacing of the letters. These are the clues. Many dismiss ordinary-looking quarters, unaware that the rarest among them are the ones that can redefine a lifetime. Knowing the difference requires patience, dedication, and an almost obsessive love for the hunt. Collectors often say that holding a coin like this is humbling. You can feel the weight of history, the journey from the mint to someone's pocket decades ago, and finally into your hands. Every mark, every curve, every detail matters. And once you identify it, the reality hits. This is not just a coin. This is a potential life changer. The allure of this coin isn't just in its rarity or its $1 million value. It's the story it tells, the excitement it generates, the hope it instills. Imagine sitting down with your collection one evening and realizing that among all your coins, one is worth enough to alter your future forever. The thrill, the suspense, the sheer disbelief. It's a moment collectors live for. And here's the incredible part: this coin could be hiding where you least expect it. Your old jars, drawers, forgotten boxes of coins from decades ago. The very change you toss in your cup holder or pocket could be the one that makes headlines, the one that transforms ordinary quarters into $1 million discovery. Time and again, collectors have proven that treasures often lie in plain sight. What seems ordinary to one person is extraordinary to another if you know what to look for. The 1989p Washington quarter is the ultimate reminder that patience, knowledge, and keen observation can reveal unimaginable wealth. So, check your coins. Examine the mint mark, the details, the sharpness of the strike. Learn to recognize the subtle differences that indicate a coin is more than just pocket change. Because for one lucky collector, this coin isn't just a piece of metal. It's a ticket to a new life, a story to tell, a treasure that has waited decades to be discovered. This is more than coin collecting. It's about discovery, excitement, and possibility. It's about knowing that hidden among the ordinary, there's something extraordinary waiting for you. That sense of wonder, the heartbeat of suspense, the joy of uncovering a fortune. That's why collectors keep searching. And remember, the story isn't over until you check your own collection. One coin, one moment, one discovery could change everything. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. You pick it up, and in that instant, you don't just see metal, you see possibility. This isn't just any quarter. This could be the coin that changes your life forever. Right now, in the United States, there's a 1986p Washington quarter dollar that's quietly hiding in plain sight, quietly waiting to make someone a millionaire. That's right, a one coin, worth over $1.4 million. It's almost impossible to believe. How could a coin produced in massive quantities, so ordinary in every other way, be hiding such extraordinary value? The answer lies in history, in a tiny minting mistake that slipped through the cracks. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where in 1986, thousands of these quarters rolled off the press like any other. But for a rare few, something went horribly or wonderfully wrong. A flaw in the die, a shift in the metal, a detail so subtle most collectors would never notice. And yet, That tiny imperfection transformed this ordinary coin into a treasure worth millions. What makes this quarter so unique isn't flashy. It's hidden in plain sight, almost invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. The edges, the shape of Washington's profile, the spacing of the letters out, these are the clues. And if you know them, you could spot this $1,000,000 coin without even trying. Imagine holding it in your hand, feeling the weight, knowing that this coin could pay off mortgages, dreams, even the kind of bucket list adventures most people only imagine. But finding it isn't easy. Most people never get the chance. This coin is like a whisper from history, a secret kept safe by chance. Only the sharp-eyed, the patient, the obsessed collector ever sees it, and that's what makes it so thrilling. You're not just collecting coins, you're hunting for history. You're chasing the possibility of turning something small and everyday into a life-changing fortune. First, check the mint mark. A perfect P in the right spot on the 1986 quarter is your first clue. But that's just the beginning. Look at Washington's profile. The lines of his hair, the shape of his jaw, the fine details in the lettering, those are what separate a regular quarter from a coin that could be worth over $1,000,000. It's subtle, it's meticulous, but for those who pay attention, it's unmistakable. Now, let's talk about the rarity. Millions of quarters were minted in 1986, but only a handful bear this unique characteristic. That means most people will never see it. Most people will never know that this coin exists. And yet, it could be sitting in a pocket, a drawer, a forgotten jar of change, waiting for the right person to recognize it. Imagine the thrill of finding a coin like this, knowing instantly you're holding something that could change your life forever. The emotions are overwhelming: disbelief, excitement, joy, maybe even a little fear. Because when you realize this coin is worth $1,000,000, the world changes around you. Suddenly, every coin you've ever overlooked seems like a potential treasure. The value of a coin like this isn't just in its metal, it's in its story. The story of a tiny minting error escaping detection, of history colliding with chance, of ordinary people becoming millionaires because they noticed what others overlooked. And that's why this coin captures the imagination so completely. It's hope in metal form, opportunity made tangible. But don't get discouraged. Even with millions of quarters minted that year, the right eyes can spot the difference. Look for the slight die misalignment, the faint doubling in the lettering, the unusual contours around the edges. These aren't obvious, they're the kind of subtle hints only revealed when you know exactly what to look for. And that's why education matters. That's why watching this video could save you a lifetime of missed chances. This isn't just a coin, this is a potential life changer. Every time you glance at a jar of quarters, every time you flip through a roll, the possibility exists. That excitement, that adrenaline, is why collectors keep searching. Because the difference between a regular quarter and a $1,000,000 coin is often just one tiny, nearly invisible detail. And that's why it's so mesmerizing. This coin doesn't shout, it doesn't gleam like gold. It waits, patiently, silently. And when the right person discovers it, everything changes. So next time you handle your quarters, take a closer look. Examine the mint mark. Study Washington's profile. Notice the lines, the spacing, the smallest variations. You could be seconds away from spotting a coin worth millions. Because the truth is, no matter how ordinary your coins seem, one of them could be hiding an extraordinary secret. It's a reminder that treasure is often hidden in plain sight, that fortune favors the observant, that life-changing opportunities sometimes come wrapped in everyday objects, waiting for someone patient and curious enough to notice them. This is more than a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. It's a story of luck, history, and attention to detail converging to create something priceless. And for the lucky few who find it, it's proof that sometimes, the biggest treasures aren't locked in vaults or buried underground. They're hiding in your pocket change. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could instantly change your life. Not some fantasy, not a lottery ticket, but a real, tangible coin hiding in plain sight. A coin worth nearly $2,000,000, and most people wouldn't even think twice before tossing it into their pocket or leaving it in a jar on the counter. It all started decades ago, back in 1988, when the U.S. Mint quietly struck a series of Washington quarters. On the surface, They looked ordinary at the same small, silver-colored coins that jingled through cash registers across the country. But among those millions, a tiny number carried a subtle difference, a difference so small that most collectors would overlook it. And yet, that difference is the key to a fortune. The story begins with a minting error, a fluke in the production line, a die misalignment that caused an unusual strike, creating a variation so rare that experts today will pay millions for a single specimen. People call them error coins, but in truth, these coins are silent treasure maps. Each detail, each mark, tells a story of chance and history colliding perfectly. A retired postal worker, cleaning out a dusty drawer of coins he'd saved for decades, he casually flipped through them, never suspecting that among the ordinary quarters was one that would change his life forever. He didn't feel anything special, no intuition, no warning, just the cold metal of the coin and a broken bar until an expert laid eyes on it and whispered a word that would echo for years: $1 million. First, start with the mint mark. This coin carries the P for the Philadelphia Mint, a detail that seems ordinary until you notice the subtle variations in the strike. Look at the obverse, the front of the coin. Washington's profile should appear unusually sharp, almost exaggerated, compared to standard issues. Some collectors call it deeply struck, as if the image was pressed into the coin with extra force. Next, the rim. Most quarters have a perfectly uniform edge, but this one might show slight doubling, a second faint impression of the letters or numbers. It's not obvious, and it takes a trained eye to see it at first. But this doubling is one of the key signs that sets this coin apart from millions of others. Now, turn it over and examine the reverse. Look closely at the eagle's feathers. On this variation, the detail is slightly more pronounced, sharper, almost alive in comparison to a regular 1988p quarter. A subtle shift in the spacing between the design elements, something most people would never notice. And that is exactly why this coin could end up worth millions instead of pennies. Imagine the feeling of holding it, knowing that every tiny scratch, every mark on the surface, tells a story of history, of chance, and of fortune. You could be holding a coin that has already traveled through countless hands, witnessed decades of change, and remained untouched, waiting for someone to recognize its value. Collectors have spent years chasing these coins, scouring pocket change, rolls of quarters, even forgotten coin jars in attics and basements, and some have struck gold literally. One lucky collector discovered a coin that, at auction, sold for $1.9 million. Just one coin, one simple quarter, changing the course of a life in an instant. These coins are incredibly elusive. They don't appear every year, and even when they do, the variations are tiny. That means anyone could stumble across one by sheer luck. You could be walking down your street, counting change for groceries, and the coin in your hand could be the one. It's not just about rarity, it's about timing. And it's about recognition, knowing what to look for, understanding the signs, and acting when you see them. Look for the sharp strike, the subtle doubling, the deepened details that hint at something extraordinary. Compared to coins you already know, check against images from reliable collectors, and trust your instincts. Think about the millions of ordinary coins in circulation, coins that most people pass by every day. Hidden among them are treasures, like whispers from the past, waiting for someone to notice. That whisper could be in your pocket right now. The thrill of discovery, the heart-pounding realization that this one coin is worth more than you could ever imagine. It's a feeling few ever experience. Some experts even say that owning this coin is like holding a piece of history in your hand, not just because of its age, but because of the story it carries, the anomaly that turned a simple quarter into a life-altering find. And that story is still unfolding, because every coin has the potential to be found by the right person at the right moment. Scarcity, condition, and demand. Millions of 1988p quarters were struck, but only a handful have the exact characteristics that make them this valuable. Collectors will pay millions to secure these rare finds, knowing that the opportunity may never come again. Imagine the scene at an auction, collectors tense, paddles raised, the coin shining under the lights. The bidding rises, thousands turn into tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, until finally, the hammer falls. One coin, one decision, $1.9 million. And for the person who recognized it, who saw it for what it truly was, it's not just money. It's validation, it's destiny, it's a moment frozen in time where luck, knowledge, and timing collided perfectly. So as you sift through your coins, or as you pull out that old jar of quarters from the back of a drawer, take a moment to look closer. Don't rush. Examine the details. Study the strike. Notice the small anomalies, because one of these coins could be hiding among the ordinary, waiting for you to see its extraordinary potential. Every coin has a story. Some whisper, some shout, and the 1988p Washington quarter with these rare characteristics isn't just a coin, it's a treasure chest in disguise, a silent opportunity to discover a fortune that most people never even imagine. Every day, coins pass from hand to hand. Most are spent, most are forgotten, but somewhere, right now, there could be a coin that defies the ordinary, one that carries the promise of a new life, the excitement of discovery, the thrill of holding millions in the palm of your hand. This is not just a story, this is reality. And the reality is that someone, somewhere, could be holding a coin worth $1.9 million without even knowing it. One lucky hand, one careful eye, and a dream could come true in an instant. But what if I told you that this ordinary coin could be hiding a secret worth over $1 million? Yes, you heard me right. A single coin, sitting in plain sight, could make someone a millionaire overnight. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to find it. It all starts back in 1971. The United States was in the midst of change out of the Vietnam War, the moon landing still fresh in memory, a country trying to find its footing. Amidst all of this, the mint quietly struck a batch of Washington quarters that would, decades later, send shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. These weren't your run-of-the-mill coins. They were D-Mint Mark quarters, minted in Denver. But there was something unusual about them, something collectors would pay millions for. Call in a coin passing through hundreds of hands over 50 years, each person oblivious to its value. A coin that could have been in your grandfather's change jar, tucked in a drawer behind loose pennies and nickels. That's the mysterious story of the 1971 D Washington quarter. To the casual eye, it's normal. But for those who know what to look for, it's a treasure beyond imagination. It comes down to a rare error, a striking anomaly that occurs only in a handful of coins. A flaw in the die, a misstep in production, something so subtle that only the most observant collectors notice it. But that subtlety is exactly what makes it extraordinary. This isn't just a coin, it's $1 million story cast in copper and nickel. Here's how to identify it. First, look for the D-Mint mark. Not just any D. This one is distinct, slightly misaligned on certain issues. Then, check the details of Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, the rim around the coin. These aren't minor details, they are the fingerprint of a coin that could transform your life. The difference between a regular quarter and this one is microscopic, but the payoff is astronomical. Now, I want you to picture holding this coin. Imagine the weight in your hand, the feel of history pressed into metal. Every scratch, every mark tells a story, and every story could lead to a life-changing discovery. Coin collectors across the country have spent decades searching. But the beauty of this coin is that it could be anywhere, right in a pocket, a drawer, a forgotten piggy bank, and that means it could be yours. Let me tell you about a collector I know. He spent years scouring change, visiting coin shops, and attending auctions. He was ready to give up, ready to accept that $1 million coins were just myths. Then, one ordinary afternoon, he opened an old tin filled with quarters from his father's collection. There it was. A 1971 D-Mint Mark Washington quarter, its subtle flaw glinting under the light. That single coin, worth over $1 million, had been hiding in his family's home all along. And this is the part that makes your heart race. The market for these coins is unlike anything else. Collectors are desperate, willing to pay insane sums for the right coin. When a 1971 D quarter surfaces with the error, it doesn't just sell, it makes headlines. Stories of fortunes made overnight, of dreams realized with the simple discovery of a coin in your pocket. You could be the next story. But time is critical. These coins are incredibly rare. and every passing day makes the discovery more unlikely. That's why knowing exactly what to look for is so important. Check the mint mark. Examine the die characteristics. Look for inconsistencies in the design that hint at the mint's secret mistake. Learn the details, because once you recognize them, you'll see the coin differently, not as a quarter, but as a key to millions of dollars. And let's be honest, there's something thrilling about the hunt. There's the adrenaline of spotting a coin that might just change your life, the suspense as you examine every inch of it, the emotional rush when you realize you could be holding something extraordinary. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt with the potential for unimaginable rewards. Imagine telling your friends, your family, that you've found a coin worth over $1 million. Picture the disbelief, the excitement, the awe. And then imagine holding it yourself, knowing that this tiny, unassuming quarter could completely change your life. That's the power of the 1971 Washington quarter, a coin that bridges history, luck, and the dream of hitting it big. Every detail matters: the mint mark, the edges, the strike. If you ignore them, you might walk past $1 million discovery without ever knowing it. If you pay attention, if you learn the subtleties, you could be holding a fortune. It's not about luck alone, it's about knowledge, observation, and the thrill of uncovering what others cannot see. Some say that these coins are myth, that $1 million quarters exist only in collector stories. But the truth is stranger than fiction. Each year, coins surface, hidden in plain sight, revealing their secret to the few who are prepared to recognize them. This coin isn't just a collectible, it's a key to possibility, proof that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. And now, here's the most important thing: start looking. Dig through your old collections. Examine the change in your drawers. Check every quarter with care, because the 1971 Washington quarter is out there, and it's waiting for someone to notice it. Someone like you. Someone ready to hold history and fortune in the palm of their hand. This isn't a fantasy. This isn't a story made up to thrill you. This is reality. Millions of collectors dream of finding the coin that could change everything, and for a rare few, that dream comes true. A single moment of discovery, a single coin, a single $1 million opportunity. Knowledge is power, observation is key, and persistence pays off. The 1971 Washington quarter is more than a coin, it's a testament to history, rarity, and possibility. Every collector should know about it, every enthusiast should seek it, and every one of us should imagine holding it, feeling the weight of potential and history at once. You've been carrying it in your pocket for years, maybe even decades, a coin you barely notice, spinning through your life with every transaction. But what if I told you a broken bar, one of these ordinary-looking quarters, could be worth $2 million? Yes, $2 million, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to discover it. It starts with a year that most people forget, 1991. The world was changing, but no one thought the small piece of metal could hold a fortune. And yet, deep in the U.S. Mint's archives, a handful of Washington quarters were struck with a rare, almost invisible flaw. A flaw that makes collectors' hearts race, that turns ordinary wallets into treasure chests. Imagine standing at your kitchen table, flipping through a stack of quarters, thinking nothing of it, when suddenly your eyes catch something different. The way the light hits the coin, the subtle difference in the letters, the way George Washington's profile almost seems sharper, crisper. That's your first clue. That's the moment when the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The 1991 quarter seems normal at first glance. Copper nickel, 25 cents, just another coin. But there's a hidden secret. The key is in the details. You need to look at the mint mark first. The P, for Philadelphia, is where the magic begins. Then, examine the lettering. On these rare quarters, the strike is stronger, the details more pronounced, almost like the coin was destined for something greater. And the reme slightly different, a whisper of its uniqueness. Collectors who know this coin's story speak in hushed tones, because they understand that discovering it is like finding a needle in the haystack of American currency. It's a story of chance, of luck, of being in the right place at the right time. Some of these coins ended up in circulation, never intended to be rare, never intended to carry a fortune. Yet here they are, quietly waiting. Every time you think you know the value of your change, Pause. Look closer. Hold the coin under a light, tilt it, feel its weight. There's a subtle difference in this 1991p quarter that the untrained eye would miss. A difference that can turn a few cents into $2 million. It's not just a coin, it's history, it's potential, it's the thrill of discovery. The answer is a small handful, whispered about in coin shows and collector forums. Too few to guarantee, too rare to ignore, and that rarity, that story, is what gives it its heart-stopping value. Every collector dreams of holding one. Every collector imagines the life it could change. And you could be the next one. Think about it. Every transaction you've ever made, every quarter that passed through your fingers, could have been hiding a treasure. And now, armed with knowledge, you can look differently. You can see potential in the coins others toss aside. You can spot the subtle differences, the nuances, the indicators that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Notice the shine. Notice the details around Washington's hair, the strength of the strike, the sharpness of the letters. It's almost imperceptible until you know what to look for. And when you see it, when your heart races and you realize you might just be holding a piece of history worth millions, the feeling is indescribable. Stories of discovery are everywhere. A man in Ohio once found one in his change at a diner. A retired teacher in Texas stumbled on another while counting his collection. Each story carries the same emotion, disbelief, exhilaration, the kind of joy that only comes once in a lifetime. And it's not about the money alone, it's about knowing you've uncovered something no one else has, something truly rare. Start examining your quarters. Start with the 1991p. Compare it to others. Look at the mint mark. Study the details of Washington's profile. Feel the difference in weight. Tilt it under the light. These are the simple, powerful steps that can turn curiosity into discovery, that can turn an ordinary afternoon into a life-changing moment. Imagine holding that coin in your hand. Imagine realizing its true value. The fortune represents $2 million, a number so large it's almost impossible to imagine. Yet it exists, in the form of a quarter, quiet, unassuming, waiting for the right person to see its worth. That person could be you. Every coin you've ever handled, every drawer full of spare change, holds the same possibility. History has a way of hiding its treasures in plain sight. Coins that seem ordinary, forgotten, even overlooked, are sometimes the most extraordinary of all. Take a deep breath and look again at your 1991p quarters. Study them, learn the details, be patient. The right one will stand out, and when it does, it's not just a coin, it's your moment, your discovery, your story. A story that could change your life forever. But hidden in plain sight is a coin that could change a life forever. A 1981p Washington quarter dollar worth over $1 million. Yes, $1 million. It sounds impossible, almost like a fairy tale, but it's real. And today I'm going to show you exactly what to look for. The story begins in 1981, a year of transitions. Reagan was president, music was changing, and in the quiet halls of the U.S. Mint, a batch of quarters was produced that no one knew would become legendary decades later. These weren't ordinary quarters. Something about the die, the striking process, gave a tiny, almost invisible anomaly, a flaw that would eventually turn an everyday coin into $1 million treasure. You might be holding it without even knowing. Imagine that something worth more than most people make in a lifetime slipping through your fingers every day. But what makes this coin so rare? It's all in the details. The 1981p Washington quarter has a specific mint mark, a small, almost hidden P under Washington's bust. Not every 1981 quarter has it in the way collectors are hunting for. This isn't about the year. This isn't about luck. This is about knowing exactly what to look for. Take a moment and picture holding it. The smooth weight of the coin, the sharp detail of Washington's profile. But here's the kicker: there's a subtle doubling in the design. Look at the lettering, especially the word Liberty. Notice the faint extra line, almost like a ghost. That tiny, almost invisible difference is what separates an ordinary quarter from $1 million treasure. I remember a story from a collector in Ohio. He was going through his change, just counting for a cup of coffee, when his eyes caught something odd. A shimmer, a faint glint that didn't belong. He pulled out a magnifying glass, and there it was, the 1981p Washington quarter, showing every subtle detail that makes it so rare. His heart raced. In that moment, he realized he was holding a coin that could be worth $1 million. Can you imagine that feeling? One coin, a lifetime of possibilities in the palm of your hand. Now, let's break down exactly how to identify it. First, check the mint mark. The P must be precisely under Washington's bust. Next, look at the details of the obverse at the front of the coin. The letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust" have a subtle doubling. It's faint, but with a magnifying glass, it's unmistakable. Then, weigh the coin. It should feel like a standard quarter, about 5.67 grams, but the weight alone isn't enough. You must rely on your eyes, your attention to detail. These small, almost invisible differences are what can turn a forgotten coin into $1 million discovery. Collectors will tell you that spotting one of these coins is like spotting a needle in a haystack. Every bank, every pocket, every drawer could hold it, and every time you think you're just holding ordinary change, you might actually be holding something extraordinary. This is why every quarter you come across should be examined carefully. That casual glance could be the moment your life changes forever. It's not just about money, it's about history, about holding a piece of the past that connects you to a moment frozen in time. That minting process in 1981, the hands that struck this coin, the eyes that overlooked the subtle anomaly, all of that is part of the story. And now, decades later, that story can become your reality. The truth is, very few have surfaced. Collectors who recognize the signs guard them fiercely. But the beauty is that the coin doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It waits, patiently, for someone who knows what to look for, someone who can see past the ordinary into the extraordinary. If you're holding a roll of quarters, if you're cleaning out an old jar, slow down. Examine each coin carefully. Look for the P mint mark. Inspect the lettering. Feel the weight. Notice the shine. Even the tiniest differences in texture. A collector once told me that when you hold it, you can feel its history in your fingertips. That feeling, priceless. And yet, in the right hands, it's worth over $1 million. Imagine the surprise, the shock, the disbelief when you pull it out of a drawer and realize what you've just uncovered. This isn't a story you read in books. This isn't a coin sold in a shop with a shiny price tag. This is a hidden treasure, waiting for someone who knows how to look, who understands the thrill, the suspense, the pure life-changing potential of one small piece of metal. So, take a moment right now. Think about your old change jar. Think about the coins in your pocket. What if one of them holds the key to $1 million discovery? The 1981 P Washington quarter dollar isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to a moment of awe, a story of patience and luck and sharp pies. And if you follow the steps at the mint mark, the lettering, the tiny double lines, you might just spot it before anyone else does. History, rarity, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. That's what makes this coin priceless. Literally. The next time you reach for a quarter, remember that ordinary coins can hide extraordinary stories. That coin might not just be a quarter. It might be the difference between ordinary life and a life transformed. $1 million difference. This isn't about fantasy. This is about reality. Someone, somewhere, is holding it right now, maybe unaware, and you could be the next. Every glance at your coin jar is a potential turning point. Every moment of attention to detail could lead to the moment you hold history, wealth, and the thrill of discovery all in the palm of your hand. So, take out that old jar, check your change. Look for the mint mark, the subtle doubling, the signs that set this coin apart from every other quarter. Because if you find it, if you spot it, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a story, a piece of history, a treasure worth over $1 million.